A section of opposition members of parliament is not convinced that their parties can unite under one opposition candidate for the 2026 general election. These members of parliament were responding to a recent appeal by Kenyan lawyer Martha Karua, who called upon Ugandan opposition groups to unite behind a single candidate in the upcoming election. The UPC member of parliament who represents Erute South, Jonathan Odu, says there are many political parties which are briefcase entities and not suitable to vie for power. Michiana South MP, from the Democratic Party, David Lumu, says unity is still difficult because many of the opposition politicians are selfish and are in politics for monetary gain.
There are so many political parties. Some are very unserious. Some are in briefcases. And once they hear that political parties are coming together, you risk infiltration by parties that were formed for purposes of not taking power.
Politics in Uganda has become a business. So everybody thinks uniting with the other would kill his business or her business. Secondly, selfishness. Some people think without them nothing can be done. It is only actually the Democratic Party which has tried, but other parties, I think it has become very, very difficult.
The Bujiri Municipality Member of Parliament, Asuman Basalira, who is also the Justice Forum Party President, says opposition parties coming together for common cause is the solution for survival, since the ruling party is now focusing on swallowing opposition parties one by one.
Because our strength is in our unity. The way the regime is behaving now, it is swallowing one by one through its oppressive mechanisms. So we can only coalesce around a single cause for purposes of ensuring that we overcome the present challenges. So I generally support the idea of us coming together, and it's really the best thing to do in the circumstances.
Leaders and communities in Kalangala district have blamed the devastating storm that hit their area on Saturday on the widespread deforestation. 4 people, who include a police officer, died instantly and at least 15 others sustained severe injuries in an early morning storm that wreaked havoc in Kalangala Town Council on Bugala Island in Kalangala district. According to residents, the area witnessed a rare storm that presented in the form of a cyclone which blew away close to 300 houses that include the structure of the Kalangala Central Police Station, the officers' uniports and electricity poles. Helen Nachimuli, the Kalangala district woman member of parliament, has attributed the tragedy to the rampant cutting down on natural forests that would act as reliable windbreakers in such situations. She argues that in recent times, Kalangala district has lost huge portions of its natural forest cover to practices such as logging, charcoal burning, cutting timber and agriculture, hence leaving the area prone to strong winds that usually blow from Lake Victoria. Despite the increase in salaries of science teachers, anticipated improvements in science education remain elusive. The recently released Uganda Certificate of Education 2024 results show that science subjects are still among the least passed, raising concerns about the effectiveness of the salary increment in improving academic performance. The executive director of Uwezo Uganda, Dr. Goreti Nakabugo, says no notable impact has been realized in the performance of science subjects. She notes that while the government's move was well-intentioned, it will take time to achieve the desired change.
If you look at the recent exams, the way this time the grading was done, if you look at the percentages of students who were in the elementary, the majority of them were from chemistry, physics, other sciences. So we haven't yet seen the enhancements translating into improved learning outcomes. It could be that teachers are motivated, but also, as I said, salaries alone are not sufficient to grade learning outcomes. You may give these teachers a good salary, but what about the learning environment? What about the kind of training they got? Are they able, now that we have shifted into the competence-based teaching, are they able to actually teach with a focus on competences?
The permanent secretary in the Ministry of Water and Environment has directed the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, to intensify efforts in restoring wetlands across eastern Uganda. This directive comes as the ministry, with support from the police and the army, continues its operations in the central region, demolishing structures illegally built in wetlands. Speaking on behalf of the permanent secretary during the weekend, At an open day at the ministry's Eastern Region offices in Mbale City, Lucy Iyango, the Assistant Commissioner for the Wetlands Management Department, emphasized the need for stricter enforcement to reclaim wetlands and riverbanks. Vincent Woboya, the Minister for Disaster in the Inzu Yamasawa Culture Institution, expressed concern over the rampant misuse of water resources in the region. He highlighted the increasing problem of river flooding and water scarcity, noting that some rivers nearly dry up during the dry season, forcing water utility suppliers to ration water. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an order to strip back federally funded news organization Voice of America, accusing it of being anti-Trump and radical. A White House statement said the order would ensure taxpayers are no longer on the hook for radical propaganda. Mike Abramowitz, the VOA's director, said that he and virtually his entire staff of 1,300 people had been put on paid leave. Abramowitz said the order left the VOA unable to carry out its vital mission, especially critical today when America's adversaries like Iran, China, and Russia are sinking billions of dollars into creating false narratives to discredit the United States. The National Press Club, a leading representative group for U.S. journalists, said the order undermines America's long-standing commitment to a free and independent press. For more stories and the latest updates, log on to signufm.com.